Hello, and welcome to another edition of A Successful Transition from Monogamy to Open. I think it's important we talk about rules because oftentimes when people start off in open relationships, they feel they need to create a bunch of rules. And yet, people who have successfully navigated open relationships, when asked about what are some of the biggest mistakes you made at the beginning, talk about too many rules, too restrictive of rules, have fewer rules. It's one of the biggest things people talk about as the big mistakes that they really made early on. So why do people have this sense of making so many rules? And early on, it seems like an appropriate thing to do. People want a sense of security. It's a new type of relationship dynamic. People don't know what they're doing. And so they feel this need for control. And when you really think about it, that need for control is based mostly on fear and insecurity. And that need for control. So that doesn't help us to set very good rules when we're coming at it from a base of fear and a base of insecurity. We don't tend to think clearly about the rules. So, and the problem is that often the people who are so adamant about certain rules are the one in the relationship who are the least comfortable with opening up the relationship. And they're adamant about certain rules. And so the other partner, because they want to get going, they want things to be moving forward, will agree to almost anything just to get things going without ever really thinking through what these rules mean, where they're coming from, and the effect that they're going to have on the relationship. So I always tell people that it's important when, instead, first of all, even just the language of the word rules, think about for a second, what does that bring up in your mind? It tends to think about one person being in control, one person being in the position of power over the other. And now one person in the relationship is responsible for enforcing the rules, which doesn't set up a great dynamic in your relationship at this point. So oftentimes I tell people, try to think about even maybe not calling them rules. Try to think of calling them agreements or expectations rather than using the rule word, just because of the mental positioning that puts people in. I'm not saying that people shouldn't have any rules or any expectations, going forward in their relationship. However, I think it's important to really have some depth with talking about what is behind this expectation. If you have the expectation in your open relationship that you only play together with other people, and you never play separately, that's fine. However, what's behind that? Is it your fear that you can't trust your partner? Is it your fear that they're going to do things, if you're not there to oversee it, that you wouldn't be happy about? Is it a fear that they're going to like this other person better and they're going to start getting closer to them, and then eventually, of course, that means they're going to leave you? Think about what's behind the need for this expectation and what's the need for this rule. Because that can make a big difference when you're talking about it and really discussing it as in your relationship as to what's behind this, rather than just setting these rules or setting these expectations and then having to deal with what that means afterwards. So I think we'll do a little more discussing about this, over the next few videos. If you have any more questions, or feel free to contact me, send me a message. If you haven't already joined the private Facebook group, A Successful Transition from Monogamy to Open, please go ahead and join it. Invite your friends if you feel like that's something they could benefit from. And I will see you later this week. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.